But awesome, you guys. I'm so happy to see you all. So let's get started. Let's see. I'm on a different laptop too, so I'm kind of trying to figure some stuff out here. Okay, so at this point, I am going to mute everybody, but you're always welcome to unmute yourselves. If I move over to the mat or my towel and you cannot hear me, somebody unmute themselves and let me know. But I think it should be pretty good because I'm pretty close here. Yes. Okay. I'm just going to grab a couple pillows off the sofa. So those of you that are at home, if you have your normal props, have those beside you, your yoga blocks, your yoga straps, any extra pillows and cushions. So I hope you all are staying safe and enjoying the holidays. And I am here from sunny but chilly Florida. So we are going to start lying down on our backs. I have a smaller little couch pillow, so I'm going to give myself a little bit of lift through that upper back again, because I can definitely feel I've been kind of hunched and rounding over. So when we come to lie down flat on the floor, if you have a chair nearby, you can throw your legs up over the chair, put some pillows under the knees. If you want that additional little back bending here for the shoulders, the neck, and the upper back, usually a smaller pillow, folding your towels or blankets so it's not too big, but in a nice rectangular shape. The point is to elevate the spine, but allow our hips to sink down to the ground and our shoulders and head to fall over the other side of our support. So I'll see if this one works for me. So we get a nice arch. I'm going to lift up those hips, lengthen them out, bending at the elbows if you're choosing this position. So those cactus arms, so that the shoulders can fall over. And this gives that nice sway through the back. The back of the head is rested. If you're in this elevated position, or even if you're flat on the floor, it's often nice to have the knees bent and falling together to take pressure out of the low back. You could add additional props under those legs, stretch them out. Those of you that do want to go right into a little bit more of a hip opener, you're welcome to bring the soles of the feet to touch and allow those knees to open. Gonna go hunt down one more pillow here. So you can take your bound angle Baddha Konasana, and that will, especially supported, be a little bit more of a gentle way to start to get those hips to open this morning. So we'll take just another moment here, loosen up the clothing, move those ponytails out of the way, find the very back center of the skull. Poof our cheeks up with air, wiggle out that mouth, tongue, and jaw. And then we'll close our eyes. Let's start off with a nice deep breath in and out through the nose. Inhale, breathing. Let's fill our body up this morning. And nice big exhale back out, and just feel the whole body start to relax. Let those joints loosen up, soften the muscles around the joints. And then we'll continue to breathe and mentally move through the body, breathing into any areas that maybe feel a little tense, a little stiff. So purposely concentrating that breath around those areas, breathing into the neck and shoulders. The exhale allows those areas of the body to relax and soften. Breathing up and down the spine into that low back. Every exhale, an opportunity to release and let go. And relaxing through the whole body, out into the limbs, down the arms, into the hands and fingertips. All the way down the legs, into the feet and toes. And make sure that all the little muscles around the face are nice and relaxed. Let go of any expression around the face. We'll continue to let the whole body relax this morning. And since we're already discovering our breath and our practice, let's continue to go a little bit further, put a little bit more focus and awareness on our breathing this morning. So always breathing the best we can in and out through the nose unless otherwise directed. Observe the rhythm of our breath this morning. Notice the flow of the breath, maybe a little bit of difference of how the breath is moving left to right nostril. Where the breath is moving, maybe we feel it more around our rib cage, the chest, maybe the abdomen. And remember, we're making these observations without judgment. We're not labeling any of it better or worse, good or bad. We're just acting as an observer, looking from the outside in. So important to slow down, spend some time with our breath, and take some purposeful, nice, deep breaths to help heal the mind and the body. Feel that natural expansion as we breathe in some fresh air, prana, and energy this morning. And that natural contraction on the exhale as we exhale away any stress, worries you might be carrying around, any tension in the mind and body. And let's all cycle through one more breath at our own rhythm and pace. We can try to make this breath our biggest one of our day yet. So when we get to that next inhalation, we'll take our time to fill ourselves all the way up. Keep inhaling, inhaling, inhaling all the way up to the brim to our maximum. And at the very top of that breath, gently start to release it back out and try to make this exhale our biggest breath out of our day yet. No strain, no forcing. We can put a little effort into it. Trying to push that breath out of the body. Empty, empty, empty. When we get to the bottom of that exhale and we clean everything out, gently let go of trying to follow and control the breath for a moment. It will wander away wherever it wants to go. We'll start to feel the whole body again. All of the contact points with the body and the floor are props. We'll start to slowly wake our body back up by wiggling the toes, wiggle the fingertips, gently give that head a little rock side to side, depending on what position you're in. Some of us at this point might be able to stretch our arms a little further overhead. Just be mindful of the shoulders, especially if you're elevated. But we can try to stretch those arms out, spread the fingers. If those knees were open in Baddha Konasana, float the knees up. And we'll all try to extend our legs out nice and straight. Bring them a little bit closer together, more down the middle of the mat. And then point and flex those feet a couple times. If you're elevated up on a prop, your feet will float up in the air. Give your right side a little bit of a stretch. Give that left side a little bit of a stretch. Let's take one more big breath in. Flex those feet, all of the toes, spread them wide, all of the fingers. On our next exhale, we might just slide those elbows back down. If we're elevated, we'll step our feet in. So again, some of us might not be able to hug our knees in because we're too lifted. So don't force anything. If you can hug your knees in, feel free to pull your knees into your chest and rock it out. If you're elevated like I am, I'm just gonna bring my feet up just enough. We'll bring one arm beside the head and we're gonna roll off our props and pause for a moment in our sleeping baby pose. So just take a moment here, pause. We are gonna come back down onto our backs today, but we're gonna lift up. So press into the ground and we're gonna readjust our surroundings. So if you had some props underneath the back and the legs, we can move those out of the way. If you need to rearrange, go ahead and do so. And then we're gonna lie right back down on our backs. So bring it back down, loosen things up, realign the head and the spine, draw the shoulder blades down, draw the belly in, and now let's all hug our knees in for a moment. Give it a little rock side to side. Bring the knees to center, hands behind the thighs. Let's reach our feet up towards the ceiling. So tight hamstrings, vigorously rub up and down back there. Start to get some blood flow and circulation. It's okay if the knees are deeply bent first thing here. Point and flex the feet a couple times. We're just going to start to gently warm. Now let's take a hold of our right thigh, point through the toes. Inhale, breathing, use your core. We're going to lower the left leg towards the ground. If you want to keep the leg in a hover, you may, but your low back should be nice and grounded. If we need more stretching, we're going to let the left leg come all the way down to the ground. Give your right side a little bit more attention here. You can point and flex the feet. Continue to rub up and down the muscle all the way from the sit bone behind the knee. Don't expect to get your deepest stretch right away. We're just warming, so don't force anything. You can push that thigh forward into your clasped hands, flexing the feet, trying to get a little bit more lengthening that way. Or we'll walk our hands up towards the calf muscle, allowing the head and shoulders to float up. This will also stretch the root of the neck and the upper back. Take a nice deep breath in. Good. Now on the exhale, pull that belly in. We're going to relax the head down, and we're going to try to slowly lower the right leg all the way down to the ground. If your left leg is hovering, you'll bring that leg down as well. When our leg touches down, inhale, reach both arms overhead into our long body stretch. Exhale, float the arms down, step the feet in, pull the belly in, hug the knees in. Little rock here. Hands behind the thighs, stretch both legs up to waterfall, point and flex the feet. Press those thigh bones into the hands or take those hands, rub up and down. We'll hold on to our left thigh, point through the toes. Inhale, breathing with a nice straight leg or as straight as possible. Lower that right leg. If you're hovering, you got to keep your low back flat and grounded. More stretching flexibility. Bring the right leg and anchor it to the floor. Give that left hamstring a little massage, point and flex the feet. All the way behind the knee to that sit bone. Hands behind the thigh, press the thigh bone forward, flex the feet, getting a more intense stretch. That will help open up the eye of the knee, the back of the leg. Stay there or reach up to that calf muscle, float the head and shoulders up. As if we were trying to draw the knee towards the nose, stretching the upper back, root of the neck, and big stretch for the back of that leg. Keep pulling that low belly in, big breath in. Exhale, we'll lower the head with control, lower the left leg all the way down to the floor. When it touches down, inhale, both arms overhead, long body stretch. Exhale, float those arms down, step the feet in. Bring your heels in line with the sit bones so we have a little bit of space between the feet. Feet are parallel to each other. If you have your yoga block at home, place it between your inner thighs. If you have a pillow, something that you can use today, if we don't have all of our props, you can place that between your thighs. We don't have a prop, you got to keep that energy there so the knees don't fall. Open. Bring the shoulder blades under, flowing bridge pose, warming those hips, stretching out the back. Press through the back, tighten up the glutes and the hamstrings. We'll follow our inhale to lift the hips up to the ceiling. The exhale will lower the hips down. Now I want us to connect to Samavriti Pranayama, so our even breath. So on the inhale, when you tone and strengthen the back and you lift up, if you're inhaling to a count of 3 to lift, I want you to try to pair that and take your time and exhale for a count of 3 to lower. So it's smooth and controlled. Those of us that want to add that massage for the shoulders, we'll add the arms, inhaling hips up, arms reach up and overhead. The weight is in the shoulders, not the neck. And on the exhale, we'll lower the hips and the arms back down. So find your rhythm. Let the breath be your guide. Feel this toning and strengthening the back side and opening the front through the quads, the hip flexors, and it's a little gentle inversion as well. 2 more rounds. Next time we exhale and we find our arms and hips to the ground, that's where we'll meet. Take your time, there's no rush. Take the props out of the thighs if they're there. Keep the knees bent. Open the feet as wide as your yoga mat if you're on one, or at least wide as your hips. Cactus those arms from the shoulders, drop the elbows out. Let the backs of the hands fall to the floor. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, windshield wiper pose. We're gonna let the knees fall over to the right. Your left side will come away from the ground. We should feel that stretch through the top of the hip, the quad. Head turns to the left for the neck stretch. Inhale the head and the knees up through center. Exhale, knees fall to the left, head turns to the right. We'll get a little bit of back bend, some opening through the front of the hip and the quad. Follow the breath. The inhale brings the head and knees up. Exhale, we're encouraging the knees towards the ground. Keep your shoulders down on the ground. We're going to take it one more time to each side. After we windshield wipe those knees, one more time to the left. We'll inhale the head and knees to neutral. Again, don't rush if you're not quite there yet. But when we do get there, we're going to hug the belly in, pull those knees back in, rock it out. So let's just do a little bit more loosey-goosey movement for our hips here. So bring the knees together, the insides of the feet to touch. The feet are parallel to each other. Float the fingertips to the kneecaps. Now try to keep your big toes touching this whole time. Inhale, breathing. Open your knees nice and wide. Let them fall away from you slightly. Stirring the pot, draw the knees back together. Exhale, pull them into the chest. So you're drawing 2 circles. Inhale, the knees open and away. Exhale, knees come together and in. So we should feel those thigh bones moving around in that hip socket. We're trying to keep the big toes touching the whole time. If that doesn't happen and the feet come apart, don't worry about it. The fingertips are just a little bit of a guide here. If you run into any hiccups, just try to gently move around them. Good. One more this direction. We'll meet on the exhale with the knees together and pulled into the chest. Now we want to reverse the circle. So keep the knees together. Inhale, push them away. Open them up nice and wide. Pull them into the armpits. Exhale together. Push them away. Open, armpits, and in. So same movement. We're just reversing the direction of the circles. Now you can use a little bit more core by bringing your arms down beside you, palms down, and try to make these circles using those stabilizer muscles. Your circles can be big, they can be little. The intention is to try to keep the big toes touching. You got it, good. Let's do one more this direction. The next time those knees are together, over the chest, bring your hands back to the knees. Let's take the hands behind the thighs, stretch the legs up one more time to waterfall. Press those thighs into the hands, flex the feet. Supta Konasana, open those legs nice and wide. Elbows to the ground, hands move to the outside to support the weight of the legs. That might be enough for us today. You can roll those ankles around. If we want more intense stretching for our inner thighs, hands move to the inside, massage up and down the legs. The more we press our heels away from us, the more we'll feel that opening the eyes of the knees and the backs of the legs. Face should be relaxed, shoulders are down into the ground. We'll take one more big breath in. Exhale, we're gonna squeeze those legs all the way back up to waterfall. Good, bend the knees, hug them in. Nose to knees if we want another stretch for the neck and the upper back. And then we'll relax the head down. Bring one arm beside the head, roll it over and pause because we had been upside down and in our gentle inversions for a bit here. The top hand comes in front of the heart to the floor, look down, press down, and we're gonna bring ourselves up. So I do want us to come into a seated position for a few poses here, get a little twisting in. So use what you have around you today, your regular props. If you don't have your regular props, pillows, nicely firmly folded blankets, and towels. I need a little bit more. Find those sit bones. Crossing at the ankles or heel to heel alignment. Move any flesh out of the way. Draw in through that lower belly to help support the back. Float the fingertips from the shoulders. Let's take a nice big breath in, reach it up. We're just gonna go through our normal spinal movements. Exhale, palms out, float the fingertips to the floor. Inhale, seated triangle, right arm only. Keep that right sit bone rooted. Let's lean it over to the left, giving our side body a nice big stretch. Our inhale will pull us up through center. Switching those arms. Exhale, stretch the whole left side. Keep the sit bones equally weighted. Follow the breath one more time to each side. For those necks, remember you can look down if you need a little bit more for the back of the neck, or you can try to bring your gaze upwards. After we take it over one more time to the right, we'll inhale. We'll meet in our center with both arms reaching up. Good, palms touch. Exhale to our center. If it's an option, switch up that cross on those legs, opposite foot in front. Draw that low belly in, spinal twist. We're gonna flow side to side and then we're gonna hold and do a release for our neck. So big breath in, reach it up. Exhale, let's rotate around the axis of the spine to the right. Fingertips might float down. You might find that opposite knee. Keep those shoulders and chin parallel. Go ahead and peek behind the body today. Open the eyes wide. Inhale, breathing, pulls everything back up to center. Exhale, rotate and twist to the left. Shoulders, chin parallel, open the eyes wide, peek behind the body. Inhaling up through center. And then exhale one more time. Let's twist to the right, but keep breathing and twisting here. All the way up to the crown of the head. Take one more breath in. On the exhale, keep the twist in that body. We'll turn the head to look forward. We'll try to look over our left shoulder at this point. Now the chin can stay neutral or you can drop it down if you need more of a stretch to the back of the neck. But keep that rotation in the body to the right, head looks to the left. Deep breath in. Exhale, unwinds the twist, the head, the shoulders, and the body. Inhale, both arms up, create that length. Exhale, maintain the length as we rotate and twist to our left. Maybe we find the opposite knee. Keep looking with the eyes all the way behind the body. Keep breathing. Take a big breath in through the nose. Hold that twist. Exhale, turn just the head to look forward. Now you can keep that chin parallel and just look over to the right. More for the back of the neck. Look down if you have that tension going down between the shoulder blades. Keep the twist rotating in the body to the left, head to the right. Big breath in. And exhale, let's unwind out of the twist. Head, shoulders, body, face forward. Inhale, reach it up. Palms touch. Exhale to heart. We're going to stand seated. We're going to do a little bit more stuff for our hips. So we're going to uncross our feet at this point and bring the soles of the feet to touch into Baddha Konasana. If we need to bring support underneath our knees, go ahead and do so. The space between the heels and the pubic bone will be different for us depending on our flexibility. We can try to slide the heels in a little bit more closely. Ideally, the knees are at least level with the hips or even slightly lower. Pull that low belly in. The spine needs to stay long and tall. Even taking our fingertips behind us to help elevate the spine and just kind of let gravity traction out those hip creases is a nice option, especially those of us that hold tightness there. If we have the space, hands move to feet and ankles. The heart leads, so there's no rounding and hunching of the back here. That isn't the pose. We're trying to get mobility in the pelvis, so the heart might lead forward. And don't jam your elbows down into your thigh bones either. If anything, pull your elbows back beside the side body. Low belly should be pulling in to support the spine. Use that breath. Some of you have a lot of flexibility, so feel free to take your fingertips now, walk them forward, keep leading with the heart. You might even get to the point where your arms are extended, maybe the forehead is to the floor or to a yoga prop. Just be kind to your hips and your low back here and your knees. Let's all try to take 2 more breaths. Remember, we use our exhale to try to let go of tension and tightness we might find. Now our next inhale will bring us out of the pose. If you've gone further into it, just take a little bit more time. Walk your hands back towards the body, restack the spine, sit up nice and tall. Hands are going to come underneath those thigh bones. We'll step our feet out slightly wider than our hips. Weight comes back into the fingertips. Start off with little windshield wipers, just loosening up around those hips again. So we'll get back into a little bit more hip action towards the end of our class after we're more warm. So from here, we're going to make our transition to our tabletop. So we can get there however works best for our body. Just move mindfully, clearing our space as needed. I haven't practiced on carpeting in a long time. It feels quite nice. It's so soft. So if you need extra cushion for your knees, take towels, fold your yoga blankets or yoga mats under. Spread the fingers wide, take a nice broad foundation for the hands. Knees are underneath those hips. Feet may be flexed, toes under or pointed. We're in a neutral spine, head in line with the spine. Cat-cows, inhale, relax the belly. Try to create a lot of space from the tip of the tailbone, lengthening up to the crown of the head. Drishti moves forward. Exhale, pull the belly in, scoop that tailbone under, tuck the chin to the chest, drishti to the belly button, round to the back. Come back to that Samavriti breathing, smooth and even. Inhaling, gentle back bend, decompressing the spine. Exhaling to stretch the muscles of the back. Feel free to add those additional little side to side movements, hanging out in one of these if that's what our body needs today. If we're flowing, do try to get a little bit freedom around the pelvis and the hips through each vertebra, between the shoulder blades, the head and the neck. Let's come back to a neutral position here. Really ground through the first knuckles and the fingertips, press into the earth. The low belly should still be slightly pulled in to support the back. Keeping the hips level, let's stretch our right foot straight back behind us. The foot is to the floor. Shift the weight back through that heel to open up the eye of the knee and give the back of the leg a nice big stretch. If we want to add a little bit of strengthening today, feel free to try to pull that left knee up or the foot from the floor into our hovering plank, but still getting that nice stretch to the back of the right leg. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, let's bring both knees back down. Equal weight in the hands. The head should still be in neutral. The hip should still be level. Stretch that left foot back from the hip. Toes are tucked under. Shift that weight back through that heel for a little bit more intense stretch. Feel that all the way up the back of the leg. A little bit more strength through the core. Pull the right knee up or the foot from the floor. We'll feel that through the whole upper body. Big breath in. Exhale, bring those knees down. Let's stretch out the low back. Open the knees wider than the hips. Touch those toes together. Child's pose. Add your pillows, your blankets to sit back on. Keep your hips elevated if that's better for the knees today. Otherwise, draw your sit bones to your heels. Hands may continue to reach forward if we want more of a shoulder extension, but that forehead we want to have connected. So if the head doesn't touch, slide your stacked fists or arms under the forehead. Place a yoga prop under the forehead. Try to sink into the pose here. Relax the belly, the heart. Let those sit bones sink down to the heels if we're there. So this is purposeful compression on those knee joints. So we get part of the benefit of this pose when we release it. So if you feel a little bit of pressure in the knees, that's normal, but we should never feel any pinching, pain, or numbness. If we get to that point, we need to back up out of our poses. One more breath here. Inhale, let's float the head up. Let's walk those hands in and bring the body back up. We'll reposition ourselves so that we're back into our tabletop. Nice strong pose here. Pull that low belly in. We'll do a little bit of our side stretch because that's kind of what we've been doing this month. We'll go into a little bit of low flow for some back bending. So from here, we're in a strong tabletop, low belly's pulled in. Flatten out the tops of the feet. Slide the top of the left foot out slightly like a kickstand to the long edge of your yoga mat. Extend the right foot straight back from the hip. Press into the ground through the left arm. Roll to the instep of the right foot. Our right side should start to get it a little lighter. We're pulling up through that left side. Knee right underneath the hip, hand underneath the shoulder. We'll start to bring right hand to hip, stacking the hips and shoulders. Right arm can reach straight up to the ceiling. Good. Nice alignment. Heads are in line with the spine. Looks wonderful. Big lateral stretch. Reach the right arm over the ear with the palm facing down to the ground, forming the side bridge pose. More strengthening. Inhale the right arm up. Now squeeze your right side abductors, obliques. Keep your right foot flexing and try to hover it parallel to the floor. Keep those low bellies pulled in. This is a strong, powerful pose. Modification for side plank and Ardha Chandrasana half moon. Big breath in. Exhale. Instep down, look down. Take your time to unwind out of the pose. Don't rush through these things. Make every part of your practice a moving meditation. Re-square the hips, bring the knees down, feet back into place. Fingertips, fists for wrists. We'll take a couple cat-cows. Remember, the inhale takes us into extension, gentle back bending. And the exhale normally takes us into flexion and rounding. Though you can alternate that breath if it feels better. Neutral position, tabletop, fingers wide, press through those first knuckles, low belly pulling in. Slide the top of the right foot out, wider than the hip as a kickstand. Stretch your left foot straight back from the hip. That leg is nice and strong. Roll to the instep of the left foot, press through that right arm, press the ground away from you. Start pulling the right side up away from the floor. Left hand to hip, stacking shoulders and hips. Make sure that knee's under the hip, hand is under the shoulder. Looks good. Left arm reaches up to the ceiling. Where is the head? Keep that drishti straight forward. You can turn it upwards if that's okay. Big lateral stretch. Reach that left arm over the ear. Palm faces down to the ground. Big side bridge pose. Keep the breath moving. Strengthening, inhale, left arm up, squeeze your whole left side, abductor muscles, the glutes, the obliques. Keep your left foot actively flexing. Continue to press the ground away from you through the right arm. One more big breath in. Exhale, instep comes down, look down, take your time to unwind. Keep your lower abdominals engaged to protect that back. Stack the knees and the feet, fingertips or fists for wrists, couple cat-cows. Come back to neutral position. Let's walk our hands about one hand's distance forward or walk ourselves more towards the back of our yoga mat, those of us that are on the mats. Tuck your toes under. Inhale, let's rock it forward to kneeling plank. Shoulders over wrists, your spine should be in a nice neutral position. Push the ground away from you. Exhale, we can take our bow, popping those palms up. Head doesn't need to touch. It's a nice stretch for the neck and shoulders. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, rock it back. We're going to add a little bit of that upper body work. So inhale to kneeling plank. The exhale, micro bend your elbows into your rib cage, a half chaturanga. Inhale to straighten the arms. Exhale, take your bow. Good. Inhale, kneeling plank. Keep your low bellies in. Exhale, elbows bent, straight back. No chicken wings. Inhale, straighten those arms. Exhale, bow back. So there should be no collapsing of the spine. The head isn't doing the work. We're just flexing at the elbow joint. Beautiful. Next time we come forward, we're going to come all the way onto our bellies. Inhaling, kneeling plank. You are welcome to try these from full plank if you want. We're going to slowly lower down through Chaturanga Dandasana, all the way onto our belly. With our chins forward. Slide those hands underneath the shoulders. Take the tops of the feet, anchor them to the ground. Keep your feet wider than the hips if you take care of your low back, or zip those feet and legs together, tail of a snake. Bhujangasana pose. Inhale, float the heart. Now squeeze those shoulder blades together and down the back. Now these are strengthening poses for the neck and shoulders, but this can also help release tension and stiffness because we're creating purposeful tension in those muscles. And then when we let go, maybe they can finally relax. Sometimes we need to really energize them to get them to let go, instead of being in this half state of firing, not firing. Use your glutes, use your low back. Keep the crown of the head extended forward. Those of us that want it, lift your hands away from the floor. A little stronger cobra pose today. Keep pulling the shoulder blades together and down the back. Nice strong legs. Press to the tops of the feet. Keep breathing. Shalabhasana those arms. Palms down, reach to the heels. The neck should be long. Every inhale, we want to lift a little bit higher. Today, let's take a chest expansion for those neck and shoulders. Try to interweave all 10 fingers. If they don't come together today, just try to bring the hands a little bit closer. Reach the knuckles to the heels. Squeeze your glutes. Inhale. If you want it, the legs can float up, but the legs should be straight. No bending of the knees for 3, 2, 1. Slowly let go. Don't just flop completely to the floor. Gently drop the body to the ground. Head may turn to one side. Relax the arms. Let the heels flop open. Once you're safely there, then let it all go. Give your hips a little wiggle. Heart racing, absolutely. Energizing poses. Breathe into the belly. Carefully turn the head opposite direction, counter twist that neck for one more breath. Let your muscles relax. Chin forward, hands under the shoulders. Energize to the tops of the feet, wider together. Inhale up, Bhujangasana. Squeeze the backside. Slide your elbows straight forward into Sphinx pose. A little bit bigger of a back bend, but should be a little bit softer. So at this point, relax the feet and the buttocks. Don't use the back of your body here. Let those muscles be relaxed. Use the strength of your arms to press down into the ground, to pull the crown of the head forward and up. Feeling the stretch through the abdominal muscles. Trying to bring our drishti straight forward. So we're going to do a little bit of work for our neck. Again, these are just real gentle releases. Take a nice deep breath in. Feet, legs, and buttocks should be soft. Exhale, look over your right shoulder and see if you can find your heels back there. Inhale back to center. Nice big exhale, twist for the neck, look over your left shoulder, eyes are wide, use your peripheral vision. Inhale back. One more time each side. Exhale. Nice twist for the neck. Inhale back. Exhale, look to the left. Inhale it back. Try to create a lot of length here up to the crown of the head. And then exhale, flare the elbows out. You can interweave the fingers here. Turn the head so that you're looking to your left and bring your right ear down on top of your hands. So we're going to do a pose here that's a nice pose to help release the low back, and it's a pose to help release the area around our hips. It's called flapping fish pose. I can't remember the Sanskrit. It's like Kripa Matsyasana or something like that. When we get into the pose, some of you are going to be like, oh, I sleep like this. So right ear to the hands, elbows are out, we're flat on our belly. Turn your left toes out. So that's external rotation up through the hip. Bend your left knee out. So we should be on the instep of the left foot, left knee to the floor. Now, if you're on a mat and a harder surface, you might want to take a blanket underneath. I'm forgetting I'm on carpeting today. So you might want to take a towel or a piece of blanket underneath the inside of that knee and inner foot that slides off your mat, so you have cushion there. And then sink your hips back down towards the ground. You might have some space here in the front of that left inner thigh, and your hips might be at a little bit of an angle, especially if you're like me and you're not externally rotated at all, and that's okay. We're just gonna pause for a couple deep breaths here. So this is a great pose if you do get tension and pressure around your SI joints, sacroiliac joints in the low back. And then we could take it a little bit further. You try to pull the left knee higher up. You take your upper body towards the left. So I'm going to inch my arms and my head over to the left and maybe connect my left elbow to my left knee. So now I'm starting to stretch my whole right side. But the idea is to let your hips sink down, 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 especially that left hip, as much as we can. One more breath. It's just a passive, gentle pose. Some of us will feel it more than others. If we've slid the head, arms, and the knee up, you're going to have to inch yourself back to where we started. Slide that left knee down. Now tuck the toes under so you can lift the knee up and bring the left leg back down to neutral. Let both heels fall open, bring your forehead to your hands for a moment and pause in a neutral position. If you do experience a lot of pain in that low back SI joint area, sometimes coming into that position on that one side and just holding it for a while can help release it. All right, other side, turn the head to the right, left ear to the ground. Turn your right toes out. So that's external rotation up through that thigh. Carefully bend your right knee out. So that the knee's at 90, we're gonna slide the right knee up. We're on the instep of that foot. Use your towels and blankets for additional cushion as needed. Now sink that right hip back down to the ground. You'll probably have some space between the inner thigh, the hip, and the mat, unless you're really open there. If you do have that space there, we're just gonna let gravity try to traction us out. Feels nice there, stay there. If you want to get the side stretch on the left side as well, try to pull the right knee up a little higher. You're going to inch your arms, your torso, and head over to the right, maybe connecting the elbow and the knee, but your fingers are still interwoven. And then you might feel that nice stretch up through the left side. And then just pause and breathe. One more breath. And then we'll carefully inch our arms and head back up to the top of our mat. You'll want to slide that right knee back down, tuck the toes under, try to Come up off the knee so you can roll it back to neutral. Forehead to the hands, let the heels turn out, pause in a prone position. So since we're here, we're gonna do one more shoulder stretch and then we'll do some more other work. So from here, forehead is to the hands, we're on our bellies. Extend your right arm away from you from the shoulder, palm down. So you're reaching through your right fingertips away from your shoulder. Turn the head to the left, so you're back on your right ear. You may want to have a smaller pillow, cushion, or folded towel or blanket nearby. So if you had it nearby for that knee, bring it back. It's going to help support the head at one point. Left hand, place the palm of the left hand right in front of the left shoulder or underneath the left shoulder. You're going to press into that left hand and we're going to start rolling onto our right arm. It's going to be a big stretch for the front of the shoulder now. So our hips will stack, the legs will stack. It's a little bit of a balancing pose at that point. You can drop that left knee towards the ground if you want a little bit less. It looks a little bit like that flapping fish pose we just did. Those of us that want more, I got to rearrange myself. You can also bend your bottom knee slightly if that helps with your balance. Or legs are straight, hips are stacked. This is going to take it even further for that neck and shoulder. You'll bend your left knee up to the ceiling and place the sole of the foot behind the right leg. Some of us might be able to bend the right knee up and place the sole of the foot there. That's a little bit much for me today. And I usually like it better with just the left knee bent up anyway. Another option, left arm up. At this point, you would turn your right palm up to the ceiling, the hand that's behind you. Try to bring your left hand behind you, interweave all 10 fingers. May or may not happen. Don't force it. Don't worry about it. And we should feel a really big stretch through the front of our right shoulder, even between the shoulder blades and the neck. If you're grimacing, smile a little bit. Try to let go of some of that tension. Take a breath. Nice modifications and options. Inhale that left arm up. Exhale, the left hand comes down. Same thing like we do with all our poses. We unwind, same way we went into it. So we'll roll back down onto our hips. Straighten out the legs. Roll onto our belly. Bring the hands back underneath the forehead. Pause in a prone position. So make sure your whole body's in a nice straight line. You can let your heels fall open, big toes touching. So all that good stuff on the other side. Stretch your left arm straight up from the shoulder, palm down. Turn the head to the right. Left ear to the ground or on your little bit of support. Press your right palm into the ground, right underneath the shoulder. You're going to start pushing down, rolling onto that left arm. That's going to stack the hips, one leg on top of the other. That feels awkward. Drop your right knee to the ground in front of you. You will come out of the pose a little bit. Or bend your left knee if that helps with your balance. Check in here. Don't assume this side will do what your first side did. A little bit more. Right knee bends up to the ceiling. Place the sole of the foot down. Even more. Left knee bends up. Go back to what felt best for your body. Keep breathing. Another option, right arm reaches up, exhale, falls behind you. You got to turn that left palm up. Maybe the palms touch all 10 fingers in a weave. If it's not there today, don't worry about it. Take a couple deep breaths. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, bring it down, unwind, roll, straighten the legs, find the belly, stack the hands under the forehead, turn the toes in, heels out, nice alignment, take a breath. And then hands underneath those shoulders, chin forward, tuck the toes under, pull the inner belly away from the ground, press into the ground, take your time to come up. We've been on our bellies for a little bit doing some stuff, so take your time. We're going to come back to tabletop and take a couple cat-cows. Start off with little ones. We did some back bending in there, so take time to let those muscles lengthen and stretch back out. If you feel like you need to sit back in a child's pose to get a little bit more of that stretch, do so. And then when we're ready, hands walk 1 hand's distance forward, toes tuck under, pull that belly in. We'll lift up into our first downward facing dog, maybe for some of us. Parallel those feet. This is when a yoga mat comes in handy because your hands don't slide. So just be mindful, spread those fingers nice and wide. Grip down through the mounted index finger, thumb, roll those upper arm bones away from the ears. Float the head between those upper arm bones. Pedal your heels, 1 heel at a time, bending that opposite knee. Those of us that want more stretch for the back of the leg. Belly to thighs, press those thighs bones back. Find stillness for a breath. Look at those toes, the creases of the ankles. Try to get as much symmetry as possible as we can from one side to the next. Inhale, look forward, baby step, feet to hands, hands to feet, Uttanasana, forward fold. Those of you that modify, bend those knees, elbows, hands to thighs, or come upright. Those of us staying upside down in our inversion, deeper stretching. Ragdoll, hands to elbows, release your neck and shoulders. Keep those low bellies in. Think about the pelvic floor assisting, pulling in and up through the Mula Bandha root lock. Today, we're going to round it up. So micro bend the knees, place the hands on the thighs, fingers are turned in, tuck the chin to the chest, and inhale, round it up. Inhale, 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 stacking the vertebra one at a time. When our gaze comes forward, shoulders over the ears, we're going to purposely squeeze our shoulders up by our ears, that purposeful tension. So when we exhale and we release the shoulders down, those muscles learn to relax. Let's turn our palms forward, spread the fingers, spread the toes. So adjust your stance here as needed with the feet parallel to each other and just standing nice and tall. Pull front body, back body, lengthen that lower buttock down towards the ground. Make sure your knees are unlocked. On the inhale, I want us to reach out as wide as we can, draw that big circle all the way up to the ceiling, some extension here. Draw the palms together and exhale to our heart. Getting right into our balance work. Focus the drishti on one spot. Palm tree pose. Fitting today. I got a bunch of palm trees back there. Inhale, lift those heels up. Reach it up. Exhale, lower. Just 2 more times. A little bit of work for our brain, strengthening the lower half of our body. One more time. Once we lower back down, we're going to take a nice big step out. So we might need to turn ourselves on our mat so we're facing the long edge of our mat. Nice wide stance. Float those arms up from the shoulders. Now from here, I know I'm a little cut off today and I'm a little backlit, but we know this pose. We're going to turn our toes out slightly. So you want your feet out at 45 degrees. Your knees should follow. Arms are going to come up into our V shape. So we're in our star pose. Shrug the shoulders from the ears. We're going to do a little warming for the hips. Take a nice deep breath in. Now on the exhale, we're going to slide down an invisible wall, knees to toes. So point those knees towards those toes. Keep the belly pulled in, bend at the elbows. Inhale, reach all the way back out. Exhale, slide down that wall, knees to toes. Feel the strengthening through the upper back again. Inhale it out. One more. Now, next time we exhale, come down, we're going to hold it down here. If we do have that attention, neck and shoulders today, bring your hands in front of your heart. That's fine. Upper body can be a little bit more relaxed. If our hands are out, we can come into our chin mudra. Really important that we're drawing in through that low belly. Little bit of balance work. Try to pick one heel up. Try the other one. I know some of you are taking care of your ankles, so we can keep your heels grounded. We could try to lift both heels up. This is our balance. Good. What's the breath doing? We feel some shaking, wobbliness. That's good. Maybe we try to sink a little lower. This is all toning, strengthening, stabilizing for our body. And now we're going to do loosening. So on the next inhale, reach up. You can come up on your tippy toes. The arms are going to come overhead. Exhale, drop the heels down, knees to toes, loosey-goosey circle. Inhale, softly overhead, arms can cross. Exhale. So just try to let your joints be nice and loose here. One more. We'll meet on our inhale, reaching up, up, up to the ceiling. Bring those palms to touch. Exhale to our heart center. Heel toe or step our feet in, not all the way into Tadasana. They're still slightly wider than the hips. We're going to do our one-legged balance. So important to balance every day. So healthy for our brain. So lean it over to the right. You can turn your toes slightly forward if they're still turned out, by the way. Lean it over to the right. Push down through that right side. So we should feel these muscles start to tighten and strengthen, lifting up. This gets our left side a little lighter. Play with lifting and lowering those toes, a little bit of a hover. A little bit more strengthening again, lifts the leg up, arms out. We felt this already today in our practice using our abductors or obliques. If you want to play with that little bit of a lean, just be very careful with the low back, but you can kind of move around in that lateral space or move the arms out. Maybe we need more floating lightness in our life right now. Wherever we are, big breath in. The exhale is going to bring the foot down, the arms down. We can be in a wider stance, Tadasana. Focus the drishti, take a breath. Inhale, big circle, reach it up, find some extension. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Lean to the left. Push that foot through the floor. Super strong this side muscles start to strengthen. This leg gets light. Lift and lower those toes. Find a little soft hover. Nice. Same aspect, working through these things. Foot is flexed. Side body does the work, reaching out in space. Challenging our balance, a little bit of movement, but we really have to stay connected to this core if we're going to be moving in this lateral plane. Maybe we want to just cultivate a little bit more softness or stillness, totally up to us. Big breath in wherever we are. The exhale, we try to land as gracefully as possible. Keeping our focus and our concentration, our moving meditation. Inhale, big circle. Reach wide, out from the shoulders, all the way overhead. Drishti upwards, feel a little bit more extension. Join the palms together. Exhale to our center. So we're going to bring it right back down and go into Kapotanasana, our pigeon pose. For our big hip stretch. If you're not practicing prone pigeon because of the knees, you will work your way down onto your back. I'll show you quickly. You'll have your knees bent, right leg up. This foot must stay flexed. External rotation, ankle over knee, rocking here. Hands behind the left thigh to deepen it, or the shin bone, or the foot up. So you'll be doing supine pigeon, stretching out the right hip, while we're in prone pigeon. That's for my knee people or anybody else that don't like coming onto their belly. Those of us moving into that full pigeon pose will come back to Tadasana towards the top of our mat. Feet parallel, standing nice and tall through the crown of the head. Inhale, breathing. Last chance, draw that big circle all the way up to the ceiling. Drishti upwards for extension. Exhale, bend those knees slightly, pull the belly in, swan dive the arms back and around, hinging from the hips into your forward fold, Uttanasana. Take a moment here. Inhale or halfway lift, hands to shins or higher. Squeeze the upper back, gaze slightly forward. Exhale, bend the knees, hands come to the ground. Stepping back, downward facing dog. Down dog, people. Inhale that right leg up behind the body. And the exhale, we pull the right knee forward under the body, then angle the right knee out behind the right wrist. Our right foot should also be semi-flexed. So the right thigh bone is angling out maybe 15, 20 degrees. From there, we start to slide the left foot back. The hip should come down equally. Have a pillow for the outside of the right hip as needed. The left leg can then relax. The heel can even sickle out slightly. We can keep extension up to the crown of the head and stay in a supported pigeon, Salamba Kapotasana, or we can come down and start to sink the upper body towards the floor. So this all depends on what feels best for our knees. We want to keep our hips and low back level to the floor, so they should be equally sinking down to the ground. But use props, use yoga blocks, pillows in front of the body as needed. Some of us might be able to stretch our arms forward and bring the forehead to the ground. You're welcome to do that as well. We should be feeling this deep stretch through the piriformis of the right hip. Wonderful pose for those of us that have experienced sciatic issues. Unclench the face, use the exhale. We will hold for about a minute. So we should be able to take several deep breaths here to let go of any tension or tightness we find. If you're on your back, you could try the different variations and modifications. Keep the right foot flexed that's crossed over the left thigh. This feels really good. You feel like you could stay here for another 5 or 10 minutes. Come back to this pose today. Give yourself the opportunity to really enjoy your yoga practice. We'll take one more breath. If you've gone further into the pose, take your time to come out. You'll want to find your elbows, your hands. Those of us in prone pigeon must bring weight into the hands, tuck the back toes under, inch that knee and foot forward so that we can lift our hips up, strong core, bring pressure off the knee before we release the leg behind us. Stir the pot, rock your dog. If you're on your back, re-extend the right leg up to the ceiling, then drop the right foot to the floor and windshield wipe your knees side to side. Get the blood flowing back through that right leg. Take a breath. Other side, down dog. Inhale, left leg up behind the body. Exhale, pulls the knee forward under the body, then angles it out behind the left wrist. Left foot should be somewhat active. Right foot slides back so that the low back and hips stay level. Bring cushion underneath the left hip as needed. And as we sink the hips evenly towards the ground, we can sickle that back foot, letting it relax. And we might be able to find space again to move into, but don't force it. If you're on your back, left leg up, flex the foot, cross the ankle over the right thigh. And then from there, hands behind the thigh to the shin, or extend the right leg up to the ceiling, or right foot, I should say. So just breathe, focus on the exhale. deep breath on this side. Use that same breath to slowly release the pose. Inhaling, find elbows and hands if you're prone. Make sure you bring the weight back into the hands, tuck back toes under, inch forward. Pull the belly in so you can bring weight off your left knee before you try to straighten and stretch it out. Pedal it out, roll the hip out. If you're on your back, re-extend that left leg, drop the foot to the floor, windshield side to side. We're going to catch up with you here in just a second. Down dog, people. One more breath in down dog. Inhale, both heels up, stretch out those feet. On the exhale, drop the knees to the ground, point the toes, sit those hips back and down to the heels, child's pose. Hands under the forehead or to the feet. Take a nice deep breath. Hands under the shoulders, tuck the chin. Inhale, let's round it up, one vertebra at a time. We'll rock over to either hip, it doesn't matter. Slide the feet out in front of the body. So it's the time to come back down onto our backs. You're welcome to come to one side and walk yourself down. A little bit strengthening of the core to come down. Plant the soles of the feet, knees are wide, reaching the fingertips forward, pulling that belly in and trying to round down one vertebra at a time. Once we all find our back today, let's drop the back of the head to the ground, loosen up the clothing, stretch the legs out down the middle of the back, reach the arms overhead into our long body stretch. Let the low back gently arch, point and flex the feet a couple times. And then exhale, float those arms down, step the feet in, hugging the knees into the body. Twists are such a nice way to help release the muscles all the way up and down the back, the shoulders, and the neck. So we'll finish with a spinal twist today. Keep the feet parallel to each other. Reach the arms out wide from the shoulders, palms down. Exhale, lower the knees over to the right. Add props under that thigh if they don't easily touch. Right hand to that top thigh to deepen the twist. Sink the left shoulder. Turn the head to the left. Close the eyes. Relax the face, the neck, and shoulders. Slow the breathing down as we come to the end of our practice. Next inhale, stretch the arms out, roll the head up, knees one at a time. If you need to do a little scooch before the other side. Feet parallel, exhale, knees to the left, add props under that bottom thigh. Left hand to the top of the right thigh for a deeper twist. Drop that right shoulder into the ground, turn the head to the right, close the eyes, and just breathe. Soften and relax the body. One more breath on the side. On the inhale, roll the head up, release the arms out, float the knees up. Make sure you bring everything back into alignment. From here, try to reach those arms across the shin bones, taking hold of opposite wrists or elbows. Pull the knees into the chest, float the head up, nose to knees, giving our body a nice big hug. Nice big stretch for the whole back of the body. Filling ourselves up with gratitude for each other, our practice, and our bodies. Big breath in. And our next exhale, we get to release, we get to relax, and absorb all the benefits of our practice this morning. So take a moment to get as comfortable as possible with any props you might have around you, any additional support you might want to take under the back, the head, or the legs. If you're somewhere chilly, you got a blanket nearby, use your blankets on top of the body so the body is comfortable and warm. Knees may be bent up to the ceiling, open in Baddha Konasana, extend it out in Shavasana, or even up on your chair, up a wall, whatever feels best. So we're going to go right into it today, making all of our little adjustments. Once we've loosened everything up, we've placed our body into position, we'll close the eyes and press that pause button, cultivating stillness in the body. Feeling an immediate release through the whole body. A relaxation of all the muscles in the body. Softening all the tiny muscles across the face, around the mouth, tongue, and jaw. All the larger muscles down the limbs, through the arms, the legs, and the even bigger muscles that wrap around the waist, the hips, the thighs. Soften and relax the whole body. Soften and relax the inside of the body. The breath becomes very easy, quiet, and calm. And if the mind wanders, we just gently bring it back to this peaceful breath, giving ourselves permission to let go, to relax, and to sink into Shavasana. And now let's slowly start to come back to our peaceful breath. And start to breathe life back out through the body. Waking up the toes, waking up the fingertips. Give the head a gentle rock side to side, roll the ankles and the wrists. Depending where we are in our space, we might be able to re-extend the arms overhead, slide the insides of the legs together, and take one more nice long stretch here, creating a lot of space throughout the whole body, right to left and front to back. Taking a big breath in. On our exhale, we'll float those arms down, walk the feet in. And if it's an option, hug the knees back into the body to just gently rock out the low back side to side. One arm falls beside the head. We'll roll all the way over onto our side, pausing for a moment, resting the head on the arm. And then we'll keep our eyes closed or soft, pressing down into the ground to bring our bodies back up one more time into a seated position where we will finish our practice today with just a couple more breaths together. So we want to find those sit bones, sit up as tall as possible through the crown of the head. Being mindful of our space around us, we'll float those arms back out beside the body. Another nice big breath in through the nose. Let's reach those arms all the way up to the ceiling, gathering up everything we need for the rest of this beautiful day. Turning the palms back out, big breath out, float the arms all the way back down to the ground and letting go of all that other junk we don't need today. And one more time, inhale, let's reach those arms up. Draw the palms together, exhaling hands to heart, humbly bowing the head down to the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and anyone else that makes it possible for us to practice our yoga together. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace.